majestic 1,000-metre-high rock walls flank a magnificent valley. They characterize the heart of the world-famous Yosemite National Park, located in California's Sierra Nevada. For a very long time, this beautiful landscape, with its marvelous rivers and remarkable waterfalls, has been among the most loved and most visited nature reserves in the USA. It is particularly during springtime, when the snow begins to melt, that the Merced River relentlessly forces its way through the valley. The beauty of this mountain landscape has been known for a long time. After Yellowstone Park, Yosemite is the second oldest park in the United States. The first thing that strikes most visitors to the park is its spectacular waterfalls. They are the highest on the entire North American continent and plunge down more than 700 meters. At Yosemite Falls, the water from Yosemite Creek falls exactly 739 meters from the elevated regions of the Sierra Nevada down into the valley below. The sight of the white foaming water evokes a deep respect toward the power of nature, and at the same time makes one consider how this remarkable natural wonder was formed. During the last ice age, huge glaciers created this U-shaped valley and separated it from the nearby mountains. The resulting rock walls reached a height of up to 1,000 meters. Small streams and rivers shoot over the upper crest of the rocks and roar deep down into the valley. The impressive beauty of the waterfalls in the Yosemite National Park are extremely popular with its many visitors. But the most famous description of this enchanting region date back to the American explorer and scientist John Muir. This remarkable natural creation was described by John Muir around the beginning of the 20th century, when he referred to it as the most divine sight known to mankind. His interest in this area began much earlier, when Muir fought for the protection and preservation of the Yosemite Valley. In 1890, John Muir's dream finally became reality. The waterfalls, forests and surrounding mountains became part of the newly founded national parks on the western slope of California's Sierra Nevada. Fascination in this unique landscape has continued to the present day. Each year, around 3 million visitors come here to experience the park's captivating scenery. Not only tourists, but also countless numbers of photographers and artists are drawn to the waterfalls and special atmosphere of this region. For several centuries, long before any white settlers reached the valleys of today's park, the area that surrounded the Merced River was the sole domain of the Native American Indian. For almost 4,000 years, this was the hunting ground of the Awanitshi Indians. The name of both the valley and park is of Indian origin. These early native inhabitants named this valley and its high rock walls with their Indian word for grizzly bear, Uzumati. In the course of time, the present Yosemite was also derived from the Awanitshi name Uzumati. The Indians lived here in perfect harmony with nature until the 18th century. The California Gold Rush brought settlers to the Sierra Nevada from all over North America, and thus to the sacred hunting grounds of the native Indians. The gold rush of 1851 also affected these picturesque valleys, and soon after, following the course of the river, the first white settlers arrived. Clearly, the natural beauty of this region was not the reason the gold miners and settlers came here, and their arrival was not without its consequences. The Indians felt threatened by the outsiders who travelled across their land and forests. Hostility followed. Savage attacks on trading posts and settlements were commonplace. But the resistance of the Awanitshi was short-lived. The Mariposa Battalion forced the Indians to leave their ancient territory. Shortly after the region had been secured and the Awanitshi had settled in a reservation, the first reports of this beautiful landscape reached California's major cities. The Yosemite National Park is an exceptional place for several reasons. Within its 3,000 square kilometers, it contains no less than 5 of the 7 varieties of natural habitat and vegetation zones in North America. Its indigenous vegetation is also extremely diverse. The huge Sequoia gigantea are among the largest examples of its natural beauty. Occasionally, it's possible to spot some of the park's wildlife. Even the bear is increasing in number. Squirrels, chipmunks and other small creatures are of course far more common and can be found throughout Yosemite Park. The park's vegetation zones range from 700 meters up to 4,000. The plant life is particularly varied. The natural treasures of this region, its magnificent waterfalls, can be seen from almost every direction within Yosemite Valley. The name of this waterfall, Bridal Veil Fall, is well deserved. Its fine, mist-like water covers the rocks similar to that of a bridal veil. It's easy to while away the hours watching this natural spectacle. These falls were also of great significance to the Awanitshi Indians. In bygone times, the Indians called today's Bridal Veil Fall Pohono, the spirit of the wind. The name is most apt because the water is continually forced away from the rock walls. The height of this waterfall is equivalent to around 62 stories. The most beautiful time of the year for this waterfall is during fall, when Bridal Veil Creek contains less water than during either spring or summertime. As opposed to the much larger and higher Yosemite Fall, Bridal Veil Fall is visible throughout the entire year. Like most of the other streams, creeks and smaller rivers, this water also flows into the Merced River after passing over several enchanting cascades. In the northern, more inaccessible sections of the Yosemite National Park, the cold and clear water of the streams flows into the Tuolmne River. The source of the water that flows into the Merced River is a combination of several creeks that are located in the 3,000-metre high alpine regions of both the Cathedral and Clarke mountain ranges. Here, the quality of the water is above average, although its purity does occasionally suffer as a result of tourism. Unpolluted water from the mountains is of crucial importance for the ecology of this region. Both animals and plants depend on its purity. The Yosemite Valley owes its beauty to the might of the Merced River. Without the river and icy terrain, this unique valley would not have developed as it has. Deep within the forest areas along Mariposa Grove, in the southernmost area of the national park, there are even more wonderful natural wonders to be found. Although sometimes destroyed by floods, many of this region's amazing mammoth trees live for several thousands of years. The most recent devastating flood to hit the park was in 1997. Unfortunately, its effects will be evident for many more years to come. Redwood trees and forests that contain Sequoia gigantea grow along the Merced and Tuolmne Grove. However, both are situated quite a distance from the main road. The prehistoric mammoth trees are truly gigantic. Their trunks can reach a diameter of nearly 10 meters and a height of up to 70. The mighty trees are real natural wonders. They are even protected from fire by their 50-centimetre thick bark. Strong tan acids prevent insects from attacking the wood. It's not uncommon to come across trees that are 1,000 years old. Horse treks are one of the most beautiful and natural ways to explore the depths of the wonderful forests. Although one of the reasons for the national park's success is its well-developed road network, its more remote regions are only accessible by foot or on horseback. When travelling on horseback, it's far easier to enjoy the natural ambience of the park, far away from the busy main roads that are often crowded with noisy vehicles. Apart from the world-famous sequoia trees, whose numbers have decreased in the last century, the forests provide many other fascinating sights. Over 200 varieties of bird have been recorded in this region. 3/4 of them inhabit the boundaries and environs of the park. 90 different mammals are part of the natural habitat of Yosemite Park. Rodents make up the majority with 39 different species. In the middle of the 19th century, this tranquil landscape was seriously threatened. White settlers began to destroy it. They didn't seem to care about the natural splendor of the valleys. They took little account of the way they were gradually destroying the Yosemite region. They erected fences in large sections of the valley and began to transform the land with agriculture, changing meadows into farmland. Fortunately, this soon came to an end. Thus, this picturesque mountain lake has been preserved. Mirror Lake derived its name from the fantastic reflections on the surface of its crystalline water. This beautiful lake, that is situated 1,200 meters above sea level, is fed by the water of Tuolmne Creek that flows from the mountains of Cathedral Lake. Its reflections are quite incredible. The rock walls, some almost 1,000 meters high, have become a mecca with climbers. The extremely steep and dangerous walls are a tremendous challenge to climbers. Climbing these rock walls is only advisable for highly experienced or professional climbers. Carelessness and overenthusiasm have led to dramatic and sometimes tragic consequences. The granite walls of El Capitan are one of the biggest and most spectacular challenges for climbers in the Yosemite National Park. The rock towers up almost vertically for 1,000 meters and is considered to be one of the largest monoliths in the world. The diverse colors and shades within the rock formations have been formed by various types of granite. The rock walls of Yosemite that follow the course of the Merced River are among the most beautiful climbing areas on the North American continent. When its currents are gentle and there's an abundance of water, the Merced River is the setting for a large variety of leisure activities, from river rafting to kayaking. But on some sections of the river, it's safer to leave the water and travel along the riverbank on foot. Various sections of the Merced River are safe and tranquil, an ideal place to escape the hubbub of the outside world and to enjoy the clean, fresh air. Occasionally, the constant force of the water cuts its way into the strongest stone and travels deeper and deeper below ground. Thus, millions of years ago, this process created a vast canyon. During the Ice Age, the valley was continuously hollowed out until it reached its present U-like form with its characteristic high rock walls. Following the last Ice Age, a lake formed in the valley below. During the course of time, the lake gradually dried out. But in the neighboring valleys, the glaciers were a lot smaller, and so contained less water, and thus the erosion was significantly less than in Yosemite Valley. Majestic waterfalls and many additional natural wonders are contained in the main valley of this truly captivating and picturesque park. Water has been the most significant influence on this landscape since its geological development well over 500 million years ago. At the end of the 19th century, the merits of this magnificent mountain world had become well known not only in California, but throughout North America and Europe. As early as 1877, the national park experienced its first coach tours, a precursor of the mass tourism that was to follow. In subsequent years, the Yosemite waterfalls and all of the park's other natural wonders created a great deal of interest far and wide. As the water level of the former lake in the main valley sank and the neighbouring valley developed because of erosion, the mighty waterfalls of Yosemite were created. Tourism became increasingly important to this region at the beginning of the 20th century. In 1907, the western border of the park was connected to the railroad. The growth of California's major cities and urban areas heightened public awareness in the region and increased interest in its splendid rivers, mountains, and forests. Despite its annual visitors, there are still several tranquil and isolated areas within the park, such as the area close to Mariposa Grove. Idyllic settings ideal for relaxation. This natural wilderness is a perfect place to forget daily routine and a divine source of inspiration for one and all. The varied landscape of the park continuously offers new, fascinating and stimulating insights into the alluring world of nature. With a little luck and patience, one might even see one of the many creatures that inhabit the forests in the less elevated area of the park. The forests are home to a large variety of animals. In certain remote sections of this wild nature reserve, there are only a few man-made structures such as bridges. Suddenly, in the middle of the woods, a small church appears, an architectural symbol of gratitude towards the Creator of this unspoilt world. The exceptional beauty of the landscape is amplified by the unique atmosphere that emanates from this tiny red wooden chapel. Photographers and artists have long since discovered this church. It's an attractive motif that has been immortalized in numerous photographs and paintings. In the summer months, the forests, waterfalls and pathways of Yosemite are packed with visitors. Yosemite Valley has several paths that lead into the elevated mountain regions. The hiking trails extend for a total of 1,200 kilometers. Following the paths into the heart of nature will eventually lead to water and small, picturesque mountain creeks. Unfortunately, many of the old and renowned sequoia trees in the western Sierra Nevada were destroyed during the gold rush in the 19th century. Important personalities, such as the landscape designer and architect of New York City's Central Park, Frederick Law Olmsted, fought for the preservation of this fascinating region. But beyond the boundaries of the protected area of the park, its natural splendor was not fully recognized. Its raw materials were considered to be more important than its abundance of nature. For many years, camera-wielding tourists have become the norm around the main vantage points and attractions of Yosemite National Park. Each year, hundreds if not thousands of climbers come to the rocky walls of Yosemite Valley, home to the most challenging and most famous rocks in all of California. Close to the rushing spectacle of mighty waterfalls, dozens of courageous climbers fight their way to the top of the almost vertical rock walls of the valley. When the snow begins to melt in spring, a total of 9 waterfalls shoot over the crest of the rocks down into the valley and transform the landscape into a glorious work of art. Five of the park's waterfalls are over 300 meters high. Thus, the description, "the most beautiful valley in the world," is well justified. The power of the water, as it plunges down onto the rocks below, emphasizes the all-engulfing and incredible force of nature. Next to one of the most famous and noteworthy symbols of the Yosemite National Park, the almost 2,700 metre high half dome, are two further waterfalls, the Nevada and the Vernal Fall. It's essential to take care when negotiating the paths that lead up the mountain close to the waterfall, as they are often quite slippery. Any mistake could prove fatal, or at least result in serious injury. It's better to be safe than sorry. However, the arduous climb to the top is most certainly rewarding. The fine, watery mist of the tumbling rivers and streams suddenly produces an idyllic scene of amazing rainbows that one can almost touch. A very rare natural spectacle takes place close to the magnificent Yosemite Falls. Each June, a moonbow can be seen, a nocturnal silvery white rainbow created by the light of the moon. It's several hundred meters to the upper crest of the valley, but from here there's a comprehensive view of the watery spectacular. Only a few meters from the edge of the waterfall, and nature reveals itself in all of its natural glory, an intriguing combination of innocence and power, gentleness and range. While encountering the magic of this enchanting setting, it's easy to understand why the early explorer and scientist John Muir was so bewitched by this region. John Muir once said that no man-made structure could compete with the magnificence of this unique and fascinating mountain region. He was right.